Yeah, and one of the things we always talk about when we're talking about the league's top pass rushers, whether that's Nick Bonito, Miles Garrett, Brian Burns, any of the guys we've mentioned over the last several weeks, is that a lot of it is a mental game. A lot of it is a chess match. A lot of it is putting moves here so you can set up another move later. Where does that come into play in your mind? Like when you're mentioning the certain traits, the IQ aspect of it, the ability to plan ahead, to play those mind games, and to kind of map out where you're going to go and where you're going to attack on your opposing offensive tackle, even interior offensive lineman. If you're playing on the D line, from like a nose tackle position, whatever it is, how does that factor into it? That IQ aspect and that kind of mapping things out in your pass rush moves.
That's definitely gonna come from film study. Being able to watch the offensive tackle, how he sets in that 45 set. Is he open the shoulder pass to the sideline? Is he kicking back? Is he oversetting too much and leaving the inside open? So a lot of that stuff comes when they're scouting these offensive linemen, being able to watch film and try to see what his flaws are when he's in his pass set. If you look at the majority of offensive tackles, whether that's left or right, they're always going to have a 45 set. So if that front toe is pointing towards you and the outside foot is pointing toward that sideline, they're probably going to go 45. So when a guy's attacking a 45 set, he's going to try to build a lot of speed and momentum from the ground. Um, Also, too, you want to be able to catch that guy when he's making that third step, when he's kicking out there on that third step, so you can be able to create some type of imbalance to be able to get him off balance and create a double move. When we were watching Miles last week, you know, he gets off the ball pretty fast, but even though he gets off the ball fast, he still makes that offensive lineman create that negative step so he can go around that corner. Another thing too is lining up on great angles. If you can have a great angle from the beginning, you got along with a great good off, you got a good chance of getting to the top shoulder of that guy pretty quick. And a lot of offensive linemen have problems when a guy that's had a lot of speed and able to attack great angles and stuff like that. Um, Also, too, a lot of these defensive linemen now are using their hands better. They're able to shock with speed. And when you punch somebody with two hands, especially offensive linemen, the first thing theoretically in their mind is to anchor, to be able to stop their feet. And once they stop their feet, and you have to know and have confidence in that move that you're going to stop their feet. Now you're able to create some type of double move. If you get an offensive lineman turning the shoulder pass to the sideline, you have him in a very, very vulnerable situation. You can almost create a three-way go, kind of like we talked about. And if you look at some of these top guys, they're always trying to compromise the offensive lineman's position and how he wants to get to him. They're always trying to isolate a lot of offensive linemen. They want to be able to use that outside hand to stop the flow. Or guys are knocking down that outside hand. They're dipping up under that shoulder. They're swiping. They're doing things like that. They're catching them in the chest. So if you have an offensive lineman that's always playing with his chest open, typically you're taught to go to the body because that's going to create some type of imbalance. So you're always looking for these flaws in film study, and you have to be able to capitalize off that. Because every time you put your hand in the ground, you want to be able to know exactly where you want to go on this rush, what you want to do, what his vulnerabilities are, and be able to attack that.
Yeah, I think the film study is like such an important part of it. I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people will talk about the best pass rushers and they'll really highlight the athleticism and the production and things like that. But like I said, getting into the mind games of it and the mental and the football IQ and everything, that is all baked in throughout the week. That's in your preparation, that's in your study. And I think that's a really important thing to call out.